Hi, it's Sherry Carroll with Hero Arts, here to show you a quick idea on how to use your winter holiday stamps for fall stamping. The card I'm making for this tutorial is a fun Halloween card, and I've started off using a winterscape for my background using the new soft granite shadow ink. I'll show you how I did it. The stamp I'm starting off with is called Winter Moon, and it's new for the 2012 holiday season for Hero Arts. And this is soft granite. It's a brand new shadow ink, and I'm just tapping the stamp with the ink pad. And if you can see, I have some lines there. So when I have the lines, I just want to go back over until I see just the bubbles. And once I have that done, so you don't want to see any lines from your ink pad, so just gently tap. So once that's ready, you can go ahead and press this onto the paper, and I'll just line this up onto regular white cardstock, and I like to do a little bit of CPR on it to get some really good pressure since it's a solid type stamp, and I also like to try to wiggle it just a little bit. So once I release this, I can go ahead and lift this off, and here's the beginning of my card. I'll be using the Ghostly Greetings, which is a great clear set, and I'll be using this little ghost owl, and I'll go ahead and ink this little guy up with some black ink, and I just have some scrap white cardstock here, and I'll just go ahead and stamp him on. I'll be cutting this image out in a little bit, so I want to do two images, so once on the scrap paper, and then I'll go ahead and re-ink this, and I'll stamp this guy onto my background, and I just want to place his feet so they're just at the top of that snowbank. I'll be covering that up with ribbon, so I just want to keep the feet there so I can have this layered up. I also want to stamp a fun greeting for this, and this is from the Scary set, and it's a nice cling set, and I'm using Green Hills Mid-Tone Shadow Ink, and I'll just ink this up really well. It's a nice solid type image, and that's what the mid-tone inks are really good for, is for stamping really great solid images. So once I have that well inked, I'll go ahead and stamp this onto my scrap paper as well. And when this is all done, I can go ahead and trim these out, and also I'll be filling in my little ghost with some Stickles frosted lace. Next, I want to add a little bat to my background, and this comes from the You Scare Me clear set, which has a bunch of really fun Halloween stamps. And I've put a mask next to the edge because I do want to stamp one of my bats off the edge, so I'm just inking this up with black. I do want to make sure that's really well inked and solid, so I can go ahead and stamp that on the edge, and then I just have a partial bat, and I can still keep my white border around my whole image. So I'll go ahead and re-ink this, and I'll just add a few more bats. I have trimmed up a piece of black cardstock, and I'm using this Ghostly Greetings set again, and this has a really fun Ghostly Greetings with that same ghost owl. So here I'm just going to ink this up with some Versamark ink, and actually I like to turn my stamp up and ink it this way, that way I know I have really good coverage. So go ahead and cover that with Versamark ink, and then I'll line this up, and with the clear stamps, really easy to go ahead and line up and center. And once I have the placement right, then I'll go ahead and press this down. And I like to wiggle just a little bit so I get a really good image. Next, I'll be adding my white embossing powder. So here I have this in a little tub with a lid, and I keep a little plastic spoon in here, and I can just spoon this over my image and tap off the back. And I'll make sure I clean this off really well before heat embossing, because the white powder really shows up onto the black cardstock. So once I have that cleaned up, I can go ahead and use my heat gun and just give this a little bit of shot of heat, and once that gets shiny, then my embossing is done. So here's my card. I've added my little ghost and my greeting, and I've put some foam dots on the back, and I also wrapped it with my purple ribbon, and I'm going to go ahead and put this onto an orange card, and I'll be using a bunch of the messages from the Ghostly Greetings set, and this is that set. It has just tons of great Halloween messages. And I'm also using Orange Soda, which is one of our new mid-tone inks. And so I'll just go ahead and ink up the entire stamp, and I like to stack up all my messages on a block, and then I can just go ahead and zip through my whole background really easily. When I go to do this, I don't have to worry about the inside of the card, just the exterior around the whole little panel that I'll be putting on here. So I don't have to stamp the entire card, just around the edges. So just re-ink and reposition, and then I can get the entire background done in really quick time. So all I have to do once I stamp my background is go ahead and affix my little panel in place. So here's another look at my finished card, all onto the orange cardstock. I think it looks really cute. And here's a close-up of my ghost and my trick-or-treat. I also did a variation of this card using the new grape juice mid-tone ink and stamped my images directly onto the panel. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on using your winter holiday stamps to create fall cards.